Homework booklet 84.3. Question 1. 10% of 440 is just 440 divided by 10, which is 44 pounds. 50% of 680 is just going to be 680 divided by 2, which is 340 pounds. Factorizing. I need a common factor of 28 and of 4. It's 4. And then that's going to be times by 7x minus 1 times 4 gives me 4. Common factor of 6 and 42 is again 6. And then 6 times 1 gives me 6. And 6 times by minus 7x gives me minus 42x. Question 5. Solving equations. You've got to add 2 to both sides. That gives me 9x equals 54, so I'm going to then divide by 9, both sides, gives me x equals 6. You could do this two ways. You could either expand it out, or you could expand it out and then solve, or you could first divide by 5. And actually, in this case, I'm going to just choose to divide by 5. So, if you've done it a different way by expanding it out first, that's also fine, but you should have flexibility with the way you're working with algebra. So in this case, I'm going to divide both sides by 5 first. So the whole side here has been multiplied by 5, so now I've got 11x minus 5 equals, right, 85 divided by 5 is going to give me 17. So then if I add 5 to both sides, I get 11x equals 22. So therefore, when I divide by 11 on both sides, I should have x equals 2. Question 7, expressing as a product of prime factors, which we're going to do significant more work on in class. But it's basically a factor tree whereby I'm saying 36 I can split into numbers which multiply to give 36. So for example, I can do that as 12 times by 3. 3 is a prime number, 12 is not, so I have to keep breaking 12 up. So I'm going to break 12 up into 4 times by 3. 3 again is a prime number, 4 is not. And then I've got 2 and another 2. So I've got 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, which is the same as 2 squared times 3 squared. Question 8. Express 144 as product of prime factors. So I'll probably just go for 12 times by 12. And then that 12 is going to be 4 times by 3, and the 4 is 2 times by 2. So, and then the same thing here. So 4 times by 3, 3 is prime, 4 is 2 times by 2. So what have I got? I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, which is the same as 2 to the power 4 times 3 squared. Right, calculate the mean. Mean is when I add all the numbers up and divide by how many numbers there are. So, I'm going to do 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4. So far I'm on 18 plus 42. That means I'm on 60. So I've got 60. So 60 divided by how many numbers there are, which in this case is 5, is going to give me my answer, which is 12 as a mean. Median, I need to put them in order. So the smallest value here is 0.9. My next smallest value is 2. My next smallest value is 2.2. I've got another 2.2 and I've got a 2.3. My middle value is the one right in the middle, which in this case is 2.2. Right, work this out. Let's do this BIDMAS rules. So, are there any brackets? No. Are there any indices? Yes. 2 squared is 4. Then, is there a multiplication or a division? There is a multiplication. So this is going to be 40, and this is going to be 3 plus 40, or 43 as my answer. Next one, multiplication first. That's just going to give me 18 minus 3 is just going to give me 15. Question 13. 3.6 divided by 0.3. Easiest to do this with equivalent fractions. It's the same as 36 divided by 3, which is just 12. So timesing both top and bottom by the same amount is going to be the easiest way to work this out. And the same thing here. 2.7 over 0.3 is the same as 27 over 3, which is just 9. Make x the subject. So I'm going to take away b from both sides. That's going to give me y minus b equals ax. To get x on its own, it's a times by x at the moment. I have to divide by a on both sides. And that's going to give me y minus b over a equals x. And with this one, I've got minus x. I want plus x. So I don't want to have a minus x. So I'm going to add x to both sides. So I've got y plus x equals a. Now I need to get rid of this plus y, so I'm going to just subtract the y from both sides. So gives me x equals a minus y. Take away y from both sides. Question 17. 85%. So 85% means 85 out of 100. And then 85 out of 100 is the same as, what can I divide by? Can divide by 5. If I divide by 5 there, I'll get 17 out of 20. Right, express 1/5 as a percentage. 1/5 is the same as 2/10 is the same as 20 1/100ths, which is 20%. Where does this cross the y-axis? At 0, 7. Okay, so it's crossing at 7. This is what's going to give me the y-axis crossing. That's the point 0, that's the coordinate 0, 7. Where does this cross the y-axis? At minus 7. So the graph would look something like that. And this, by the way, sorry, this one with the minus 3x, it would be a negative gradient. So that's a poor sketch. It would be like this, and that would be my point 0, 7. This would be my point 0, minus 7. Y equals 6x minus 7. Question 20. That's it. We're done.